Am I the butthole for clapping back at a relative who was being nosy? My husband's brother is married to a woman, Jenny, who nobody in the family is really a big fan of. She has basically no filter and will often blurt out rude things. One example is that we were once at an amusement park together and she loudly said, "Wow, there's a midget here," when a little person walked by, so it's pretty bad. She also parties a lot for someone her age, we're all mid-30s, and generally acts much younger than she is. We don't see each other often, and even less as recently as you can imagine. We had a mini barbecue for President's Day that included her and brother-in-law and my husband's parents. Basically, we all grilled hot dogs and burgers in our respective kitchens and had a Zoom call. Everyone on the call was having a beer except me because I don't drink alcohol. I never have, there's no particular big reason for it, just the combination of a lot of little reasons: expense, lack of interest, don't like the taste, drunkenness is very unappealing to me. I am 1000% sure that this fact has come up before, so Jenny should have already known. Nonetheless, she sees me drinking a lemonade and the call takes a turn. "Oh my God, are you pregnant?" "No, I just don't drink, you know that." "You are pregnant, congratulations, girlie." Her husband butts in to confirm that I actually really don't drink and I'm not pregnant. "Oh my God, really? That is so funny, why don't you drink?" "I just don't, can we please move on?" "Are you a Mormon or something?" "No." "Was your daddy a drunk?" "Wow, no. You need to drop it." "Are you on happy pills?" "Stop." "Well, why then?" "Ha ha." "I don't know, Jenny, why do you get so hungover that you can't drive your kids to school?" I can't guarantee that the above exchange was word for word accurate, but it was pretty close to how it all went down. Jenny's mood turned on a dime and she started screaming at me about talking crap about her in front of her in-laws, and aren't I just a snooty little princess? Me and my husband ended the call and it's been unpleasant since then. Brother-in-law wants me to apologize to his wife, but I think I should only have to do that once she apologizes to me. I'm not sure if I went too far or what. Jenny, do you not drink because you are pregnant? Up, no. Jenny, your daddy is a drunk. Up, no, and at least I'm never hungover that I can't even drive my kids to school. Jenny, shocked Pikachu face, not the butthole. If she can't take it, she shouldn't throw it. Edit, thanks for the awards. It's baffling how some people feel okay with being nosy and invasive or telling extremely rude jokes and genuinely think it's okay, or do they? Yet the moment you use the same attitude, they act like you've committed treason against humanity. Like, why do you think others would be okay with it if you're that sensitive about it yourself when it's thrown back at you? I've never met a just brutally honest / don't sugarcoat things / tell it like it is person who didn't freak out when people are honest in return. I know we're in Lent, those who observe, but don't play moss if your frayed powder still applies. Not the butthole. Me neither, haha. I'd say I say it like it is people often being the most easily offended, pretentious, self-righteous, and ones who think they're so high and mighty that there's no one else who say anything like it is back to them. I had an ex who was brutally honest, and when he came to visit me at work one day, he dressed me down in front of a customer for using a tool wrong. I actually wasn't. Please note that this ex was a software engineer who was actually banned from talking to customers because he tended to piss people off / didn't understand what tact and diplomacy were. That night when I got home, we had a huge fight. I told him he had no right to come into my workplace and undermine me in front of customers. He said that if I was using a piece of equipment wrong, I wasn't. It was more important to correct me than to soothe my ego. I snapped, "Look, I know that customer appropriateness is just a collection of syllables to you." He went icy cold and refused to talk about it anymore. Apparently, it was okay for him to humiliate me in front of my customers, but unacceptable for me to point out that maybe there's a reason why he's not allowed to even talk to his. Moral, as Will Smith once said, don't start nothin', won't be nothin'. Not the butthole. Sounds like a good reason to make him an ex. I'm sorry you had to go through that. I have people close to me with whom we are pretty wild with how we tease each other, but it's something mutually agreed upon as fun between us, but we don't suddenly act offended or pull that crap on people we don't know or we don't know would be okay with it. Huge difference that such people sadly don't understand or deliberately overlook, and I think it comes from a place of feeling superior where they know better than everyone else, which is why they can crap on everyone else. Absolutely. Teasing and taking the piss, as the English say, he was English, are one thing, but I also feel they need to be earned. You don't get to do it until you've established a relationship dynamic. And what he did, completely disregarding how wrong it was to humiliate me in front of a customer in favor of correcting me, and of course, making himself look smarter than me, was such a huge boundary violation. When I asked him to be more aware next time he came to visit me at work, he said, "I won't be coming to visit you. Apparently I just can't be trusted to talk to you in front of customers. I'd be too afraid to say or do anything." He decided that having to make the absolute minimum effort to check himself wasn't worth the effort. Which was his loss, because my work is basically a huge candy store for someone with his hobby, smiley face. Bloody hell. In English. Well, yes, you need to establish mutual agreement to taking the piss, for it to be okay, but I guess some just feel like they're the only one who give the piss. Just to explain banter, you don't give the piss, you take the piss out of someone else. The British are famous for showing endearment to one another by taking the piss / taking the mickey, or Michael / ripping the crap out of their friends or loved ones. Thanks for the info, romantic face. Ugh, my mom just did that to me, not in so but still a recognizable manipulation tactic. Such BS. I am also extremely familiar with it as a maternal manipulation / guilt tactic. I stomped all over your boundaries and now you have the temerity to make me feel bad about it? Well, I guess I just won't even try if this is what I get, winking face. Hey, I just wanted to remind you that you weren't using the tool incorrectly. But don't expect to get crap back because imperfection. Your story is reminding me of my ex who always said he never lied. Always assumed I was. I would watch him lie so smoothly about things that weren't particularly important and things that were better said truthfully. Getting accused of something I'm horrible at, lying, was so painful because I don't lie. I'm not one of those painfully honest people either. But to defend myself over his baseless accusations hurt. It does make one very aware of anyone talking about how truthful. I prefer the old adage, speak softly, and carry a big stick. See, now that's just straight up gaslighting. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was that. We live and we learn, right? Projection, rather. Why not both? Winking face. Abusers are prone to projecting, fearing / believing that others do what they do, while in fact they're speaking to their mirror. If someone accuses you of lying out of the blue, they're the liar. How long did it take after that for him to become your ex? Too long. I mean, there was a lot to love about that relationship, but I ignored a lot of red flags, and his brutal honesty, which he blamed on being on the spectrum but was completely self-diagnosed, was the biggest one by far. It came down to an inability, edited to add, and, frankly, unwillingness, to put someone else's feelings on a level playing field with his own. Oof. I think I might be, and I just see it as a reason to try harder. I've done a bunch of extra training at work on soft skills that's helped a lot because it explains the logic behind things and breaks down conversational tactics into sort of steps. Being neurodivergent is a reason, not an excuse. See, it's interesting, he seemed to think the possibility of being on the spectrum gave him a free pass. Oh, and here's why I added unwilling. I heard Michael Levitin's incredible This American Life interview about being raised in a cult of radical honesty. Amazing interview. He also just released a memoir called To Be Honest, and it's so good. And at the end of the interview he talked about how he realized that, in order to have healthy relationships with people, he had to learn to be comfortable with some of the small half-truths and deceptions, or even just not saying everything on your mind at all times, that help people form emotional connections. He specifically said that he finally understood that listening to people, having empathy and valuing their feelings over his need to be brutally honest, was crucial, and something he had to work to learn at age 29. I excitedly sent the interview to my boyfriend and asked him to listen to it. We were long distance, as he lived in England. He wrote back, I really related to him a lot. Well, until he started talking about listening to people and putting effort into empathy. Then he lost me. One more nail in the coffin, he had also admitted to me that, years before I met him, he had a fling with a married woman, which he had regretted ever since. He said, I think that's where some of my need for brutal honesty comes from. Not from being on the spectrum? Interesting. It's as if he felt the need to keep looking for excuses why he shouldn't have to put in any effort at empathy. What a nightmare of a person. Definitely sounds like excuses to me too. I don't understand people who aren't interested in anyone else. People are all so different that basically everyone will have something interesting about them. Oh, been there. Felt like bashing my head against the wall sometimes trying to explain why this inability made me feel so bad. Great line from Men in Black, clapping. Iconic. That and Welcome to Earth from ID4. I love me some 90s Will Smith, winking face. I say it like it is people often being the most easily offended, pretentious, and self-righteous. I had a friend who was like this. She was exhausting to interact with. One time, I very gently pointed out her hypocrisy and she flipped out and didn't speak to me for 6 months. Our friendship hasn't been the same since. Their loss, to be honest. You dodged a bullet. I always wonder how many friends they actually have. I'm sure you aren't the only person she fell out with because of her brutal honesty. That's because those people aren't saying it like it is, they're saying it how they perceive it to be, and their perceptions are filtered through their highly inaccurate and narcissistic view of the world. People who actually tell it like it is tend to be pleasant people who can take criticism because they have a much more rational and grounded view of the world, and they also prefer to know the truth. Also, because they understand they don't have to be brutal to be honest. I say it like it is, cockatiels are adorable and I would die to protect them. I think the brutally honest people have squeezed all the angry, hurt feedback they have gotten over the years into a big pitcher and called it lemonade/a strength of character. People who say it like it is, always think that by saying that, it gives them the free range to be a total butthole. Those kind of people are insufferable. I had a friend who said something hurtful to me. I told them what they said was rude and that being honest didn't mean they weren't accountable for what they said, and that I was just being honest in return. They accused me of trying to start drama and blocked me. I wasn't friends with this person for long. Funny how these brutally honest types are only ever interested in honesty as it relates to being mean. You never see self-described telling it like it is types being like, "Oh my god, your redecorated kitchen is amazing. I'm just being honest. That haircut looks so good on you. Haha, I just have no filter, it's how I am." I dicks. I actually do this as a joke. Like I'll start something off with, "Look, I am going to be very honest with you, this meatloaf is amazing," etc. Or let me be very clear and straight, "This is awesome," etc. I do as a joke, though I would stop if it bothered someone or annoyed them. It works as a joke precisely because those types of people never say anything nice while being honest. 100%, they can never take what they dish out, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. I had an ex-friend like that. He was a real, words that will get me banned here, and liked to insult everyone for the sake of being more words that will get me banned. Of course, if anyone said anything about him, he'd immediately get offended. There's a reason I don't talk to him anymore. I got tired of it all. So true. Being brutally honest is often just an excuse for people to act like Oz and pretend that it's okay. Not the butthole, original poster. I learned a long time ago not to ask people why they don't drink at all, and I think it's common decency not to pester someone about any question. Sometimes, the story is very dark and sad. Other times, there is absolutely no story at all. Either way, she pushed you over the edge and couldn't take it when you pushed back. I know a few, and have some respect for them. And with time, most learn how to shut up. If you ask, they will said what they think, but they are able to maintain the mouth closed. And we're back to honesty without tact is cruelty. Don't think I've ever met a just brutally honest / don't sugarcoat things / tell it like it is person who wasn't a massive butthole and a raging narcissist to boot. I just wanted to say from one Trini to the next, thank you for sharing that phrase with the world. It fits so many things, but I never say because I know people won't get the context. I see you. I appreciate you. I know what you said was rude, but I'm still going to say not the butthole because it sounds like she could benefit from having a taste of her own medicine. Her comments about whether you had alcoholism in the family and whether you were on antidepressants were completely uncalled for, and you were right to stand up for yourself. I hate the perception that you become just as bad when you finally lose your patience after a barrage of callous comments from someone who is habitually rude. I am not sure what kind of saint you're expected to be. Also, I don't drink either, and I can confirm the "oh, are you pregnant?" comments get so old. Someone asked me that once and my hubby jumped in and said, "Why, yes, I am. It's a baby elephant. Want to see its trunk? Think about it." We then walked away. I told him I thought they just might have been asking me, and he said of course he knew that, but he was sure I was tired of having to explain I wasn't pregnant. I just did not want to drink. This was maybe a week after we discovered I would never be able to get pregnant, so it is an especially tender memory for me of a time he helped me out just by being his wonderful, silly self. This is gold. Your husband is my kind of people. Your husband sounds so sweet. I think he is. He tells people he isn't butthole. Currently he is grumpy as we have had no internet for 5 days and had no water for 3 days. But grumpiness will pass and he is not grumpy towards me. It's so funny to me that people who proclaim themselves to be Oz tend to be lovely, while people who claim to be nice tend to be Oz. I'm glad you have him. He sounds like exactly the right type of Oz. Stay safe out there. It's basic marketing logic: under-promise, over-deliver. You're under-promising by saying you're in butthole, then over-delivering by not being one. I'm also one who does not partake in alcohol, makes me sick. If I'm in a bad mood and get the "are you pregnant?" nosy people, I'll tell them, it's a tumor, and I'm due for surgery. The awkward looks you get make the bad day a tiny bit better. Not the butthole. You did great. What a snappy comeback. Brother-in-law needs to think about what you said, not worry about you apologizing. Yeah, if brother-in-law wants an apology, Jenny needs to apologize for calling the original poster pregnant, asking intrusive questions, calling into question the op's religion, indicating the original poster has familial problems with alcoholism resulting in trauma, and indicating the original poster was a drug addict. The line of questioning should never have gotten started, but it clearly and definitively should have stopped when the original poster asked to move on. Jenny needs to apologize for calling the original poster pregnant, asking intrusive questions, calling into question the op's religion, indicating the original poster has familial problems with alcoholism resulting in trauma, and indicating the original poster was a drug addict, and did all of this within the span of 2 minutes even. Right? I'm surprised original poster had the restraint not to blatantly say that obviously Jenny is creating an aversion to alcohol in her own children with her drinking habits. You did great. What a snappy comeback. Op is my favorite person on the internet right now. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.